Well, greetings, Cap fans. Welcome to episode 210 of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast. I'm Rick Verbanis, and I'm your host. And I've got a great co-host out there. Some say he's the best gosh darn one out there. His name is Bob Lucius. Oh, Bob, got a job? That's okay. But they've got me working night and day, punching in, punching out. Is this really what life's all about? What you gonna do? What you gonna feel? I don't know. When you say, what are you gonna do? There's only one thing left to say. C'est la vie, c'est la vie. That's just the way it goes. That's life.
Is this like an 80s song that I
Totally an 80s
vaguely
song.
remember?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Robbie Neville, 1986, I want to say.
Was that a one-hit wonder?
He had a
Did
few
he have
hits, but
a
that was his biggest one. That one was I
maybe
think it
off
was
one album?
it went up
Yeah.
to number 2 like for a couple weeks in a row.
All right.
But and there's another line in here. There's another line in here that I wanted to say. And that is Bucky's gone all alone, all alone. Are you sad because you're on your own?
Apropos.
Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not Bucky, maybe it's Baby. But whatever, you get the point. Bob, why am I greeting you with C'est la vie?
Woo! Would it have to do with the fact that we're going to do Captain America 105 tonight, and it's got our favorite franchement?
It does, mon ami.
All right.
It does. It has Batroc et Lupin.
All right.
Yeah. So I figured we go with something a little French. And C'est la vie, such is life.
Nice. Thank you for the translation.
You're welcome. I forget. What did you take in high school?
French.
French. Okay.
Yeah. In college too. Yeah.
I took Spanglish.
Yeah. Yeah. That was newfangled in my high school.
French?
No, Spanish. It's like they just introduced it, like when I was in high school, as an option. In addition,
wasn't Latin the main language when
yes,
you were in school?
You could take Latin or you could take French. I wish
I mean, it was
Latin.
the main language. Like that was back when you were in school.
Right. Yeah. You're so amusing. Yes, but no, they did teach Latin, and I wish I'd taken it. I regret that.
What would you do with Latin?
I don't know. I just
you gonna be a doctor,
be fun,
a lawyer,
maybe read some ancient texts, and like national treasure sort of thing. I could have been an adventurer.
I always thought that was really cool when somebody we're going to bring in, you know what, we found these ancient scribes. We're going to bring in this this linguist expert, or these aliens have landed and wrote something. We're going to bring in this linguist expert. I always thought that was kind of interesting. Like, oh well, this person does nothing 364 days a year, and then it's like their time to shine.
Well, yeah. At least they got a time to shine, Rick. I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to apologize to all the professional linguists out there who listen to this show. I was no slight intended. You know what? If they were on the sneaky side, would that make them a cunning linguist?
We also, of course, we don't want to offend any Latin speakers out there. So if there's any Romans, please, please excuse us, our frivolity. Yeah.
Bob, we should probably get to our guest today. We have a special guest. We didn't tell anybody we're going to have a special guest. In fact, we didn't even tell him until the day before. But he's here today, and that is one Mr. Jon Waller Sewell. Hi, John.
Hey guys, I appreciate you having me on. I feel kind of like a linguist. I really only have anything to do when y'all talk about Batroc.
You're a Batroc specialist.
That is true.
Yeah.
We wanted to do a comic from the 60s, and then I came across this one, and I was like, well, John's going to be mad at me if we do this when we don't invite him on. And then so I reached out, and luckily your schedule is free.
Well, it's the other 364 days of the year.
Anyway, so we're going to get into Captain America 105 today from 1968. It is a one-shot story, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. We'll get into that in a little bit, but I there's two things that I think are really important. We don't normally talk about on this show, but I wanted to bring them up. And the first one, I think the most important one, is our hearts go out to all those affected by Hurricane Helene, the devastation in so much the southeast of the country, and just seeing the lives that have been lost, the homes that were demolished, the businesses that were destroyed. People are suffering, and our hearts, number one, our hearts go out to them. And so we hope that you're doing okay. Our prayers are with you. And also, there are people on the ground doing good work to help. And I certainly don't know all of them, but salutations and kudos and wow to all those out there that are physically there, helping out the people in need. One of the organizations that in times of trouble tends to do these types of things, and that is the American Red Cross. And so I felt like, I can't physically be there to help, but I can at least maybe make a donation. And so I thought, what would Cap do, right? And so I'm starting a GoFundMe, and the link will be in this podcast. And so if you want to go into the podcast notes, there'll be a link there for the GoFundMe page. You can also go onto our Facebook page in the Captain America Comic Book Fans Facebook group, and you could probably also go onto our website, CaptainAmericaComicBookFans.com, and I will put a link to the GoFundMe page. It has a modest goal. It's $1,000. I think we could make that hopefully pretty easily. I personally will match the donations up to the first $250. I'm putting that out there because it's just something I want to do personally. And then also for whomever is the largest donation, I'm going to personally donate like a stack of Captain America comic books, including a bunch of number ones, as well as a What Would Cap Do challenge coin, some stickers, and probably some other goodies out there too. So we really want to encourage people to 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 make a donation if you can. If you can't, totally understand. But maybe if you can't, maybe spread the word. Help on that end. Spread the word. Send the link out, or just talk to other people about what they can do to to help the people out there who are making some real difference in people's lives.
Nicely said, Rick. I think that's a great idea. Definitely something we should do. It's something Cap would do, and it's certainly within our means. We have a reach, and we should definitely use that for the power of good.
I appreciate that, Bob. So moving on to the second topic, we don't get into politics here on this podcast. People don't care about politics. They want to escape from politics,
Plus,
right?
it's that damn secret empire.
That's true.
We're all over those guys. Yeah.
Yeah. But and we don't want to get in here and talk about this candidate or that candidate. But as a lifetime communication professional, somebody who has studied and who has made a living in communication field. So this is in marketing, advertising, public relations. I can tell you, and I urge everyone out there, those who are undecided, which maybe is only 2% of the people out there, but even those who have already an idea of what candidate they're going to vote for, inform yourself. And my recommendation would be is get out of your what they call a echo chamber. And this is when you read, listen, watch the same news sources that agree with you. Talk with your friends, your family, your coworkers who agree with you. And all you're hearing back is this echo of the same ideas. I challenge people to Google unbiased media chart and then do a sort by images. You will see there are some organizations out there that go and they look at every single media source and they then rank them on two really important areas. One is they're biased to either being on the left, central, or biased to being on the right. Number two, they also check the credibility of the sources. So at the bottom is your least credible sources, at the top is your more credible sources. And so I challenge people, get outside of your echo chamber. If you really want to see what the candidates are about, go to these at the top of this. It's like a little hill, right? You have the left of the center, right of the center, and the top is going to be the ones that are ranked as the least biased, and then at the top being the most credible. Believe it or not, we're talking about the NPR. Another particular source that I tend to go to is the BBC, to get some unbiased view of American politics and so on. That's it. I'll get off my soapbox now, but just as a lifetime communication professional, I see a lot of bias out there. I see a lot of lies. I see a lot of bias, of just information that is being told only on one side. And I think we as Americans owe a responsibility to be informed, especially when we're voting for our elected officials, and to challenge ourselves and not just go in and say, well, I'm going to vote for this side or this side, and that's it. That's my personal opinion, not the opinion of anyone else on this podcast, but I just wanted to share that.
All right, here, Rick. Here. Good advice all around. Absolutely 100% that avail yourself of the information that's out there and do your best to to be a critical thinker. That's what Cap would do. How many times has Nick Fury told him something and he said, you know what, I'm going to check it out for myself?
That's
right?
true.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to take Nick Fury's word for it? No, he's going to go check it out himself. So, yeah, do what Cap would do.
Might I just add, avoid any source that claims itself first and foremost a source of entertainment as opposed to news.
It's true. That is true. And as a communication professional, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, crap, that's us.
We're not news, that's for sure. All right, let's get past all of this stuff and let's get to what people came here for. We want to talk about 1968's Captain America 105. So, Bob, do you want to take people through the cover?
Yeah, okay, sure, why not? Yeah. No, it's my thing, Rick. Of course I want to take them through the cover.
All right.
So, wonderful cover, right? I mean, just wonderful. And I remember when I picked this up back in, of course, it was a back issue when I got it back in the late 70s. And I remember pulling out of the box and I was struck. There's just a handful of covers that have that bright yellow background. I think another one that stands out, of course, is the one with oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Is it Cap and Hawkeye? Hawkeye. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
yeah,
that
that's
was,
the one, right? Yeah,
by Paul Neary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the bright yellow background. It's canary yellow, right? It captures your eye, and that's what we've got here. We've got a canary yellow background, the sky behind what presumably is a New York City skyline. And we see three characters on, there it is. Mad Bomb is another one, right? Yeah, we see three characters on a rooftop. And one of them is of course, our esteemed Batroc. Another one is the Swordsman. And then we have the Living Laser. And we see Cap, though.
I'm sorry, Bob, the Living what?
Laser. And we see Cap using his, now we see him from behind and, he's moving away from us, but we see him using his shield to slide down almost like a zip line. And so he's got his shield on top of the zip line and he's holding onto the edges and he's using it to slide down to the rooftop to face these three foes, the original Batroc's Brigade. So it's a great cover. And we see, underneath the title, we see in the name of Batroc.
You know what, Bob? 12 cents. 12 cents get you this comic back in 1968. What a bargain.
You could make like a phone call and still have a couple cents left over.
Yeah, and he's got the nice Jack Kirby corner box where Cap's holding the shield up with his left hand. And by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this, but the art for this particular one is by Jack Kirby and Dan Atkins. And the creators for this. So I know I mentioned earlier, Stan Lee is the writer and Jack Kirby is the penciler, inker Dan Atkins, letterer Sam Rosen, and then Stan Lee is also the editor of this one. All right, let me grab my copy. I know people always hold their breath at this point, right? As I take it out and like, please don't make sure the tape doesn't stick.
There it is.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna hear it. Oh crap! On this, right? Let me get my readers on. All right, so we're opening it up, and it is a really cool opening splash, big full page splash, and it is looking from the perspective of German soldiers who are firing at American soldiers who are advancing, led by Captain America and Bucky. And the title to this one, Bob, is
In the name of Batroc.
And the caption reads, "No, your eyes do not deceive you. That's Bucky Barnes running towards us as he was 2 decades ago." Now, I got to tell you, sometimes it just blows my mind that this Man at a Time that they played up so much. It was a big, big deal. Man at a Time, Man at a Time. It's 2 decades. I mean, I think back to 2004, and I'm not like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like is
I
the
put on
world
5 pounds.
Yeah, well, probably a little bit more. I actually had hair back then, so.
Huh. Let's take a moment, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, if there's a better way to start this yarn than with the World War II battle scene, we apologize. We just couldn't think of it. And now let's move. And I just want to get back to what Jack Kirby did here. He drew a very ugly German soldier who is got his Luger in his left hand, and he is turning and facing, I guess, his other, teammates.
Go team!
Whatever his legion.
Yeah,
right.
Squad, whatever.
Yeah, we went through this. Yeah, the battalion. Yeah. Anyway, but he's got his mouth open, and then he's got a little spit.
Yeah,
looks like he's got a little spit going in between.
Kirby likes the spit. It's almost as ubiquitous as the crackle.
True, and we do have a little Kirby crackle in the background. Yeah. And then I like we've got the little kind of coming up from the ground so you can see where bullets are hitting it. Yeah, I tell you, poor Bucky, he's in the lead there. He's in front of Cap, and he doesn't have a shield.
Yeah, and he's always got that. I've noticed this when Kirby draws Bucky, he's always got that sort of loping look.
Well, he's hunched because he didn't get shot in the
head.
He doesn't have a shield.
That's true. That's true. He's keeping a low profile.
Yeah. We turn the page, and oh my goodness, double page splash. Right? 2 big panels that form together to one big panel. It's huge. And it is Bucky and Cap with the American soldiers advancing on the German soldiers, and they're kicking their butts, knocking them back. I don't have any clue why the one German soldier on the bottom right is holding a hand grenade in close combat. Doesn't make any sense to me, Bob. Maybe you can explain it to me. You're on mute.
The guy in the green?
The guy on the bottom right, the German soldier falling back with the grenade in his right hand.
Yeah, he's got that potato. That's called the potato grenade, right?
Yeah.
And I guess he was getting ready to throw that damn thing. It's fire close, Rick. You familiar with that?
No.
Yeah, that's like when your position's overrun and you call in air support, close air support to just lay down right on top of you, buddy, right on top of you. Danger close. Just drop everything. Hunker down. Hope you survive. So, I guess maybe he's like, well, I'm going to use that dang grenade because I may not get out of here anyway. So I might as well take a few of these, Americans out with me.
Kind of reminds me of the second Alien, Aliens, where the Marine,
Mm-hmm.
she's in the little ventilation system and she's injured and everybody leaves and she sticks behind and the aliens come up and she's got the grenade. She's like, well, I might as well take everybody out.
Might as well. This is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll admit that doesn't have much to do with the stirring saga that follows, but we just couldn't resist giving Jolly Jack a chance to let himself go on this sizzling scene. And we kind of suspect that no true believer amongst you is going to complain. But if you've been wondering how any of this is related to the present day thriller which awaits you, it will all be revealed on the next page. Oh, patient one. And we turn the page, and it was a movie. They're looking at it on a screen. And so there's Steve Rogers in his civilian identity, wearing a suit with a tie.
Snappy.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of businessmen around them smoking, because that's what you do in the 60s, right? And they're watching the screen. Wasn't I right, Rogers? These official combat films from World War II will make the greatest TV spectacular ever presented. And if you'll agree to act as narrator, it just can't miss. But Steve's not listening. He's thinking to himself, I still can't believe that Bucky is dead, even after all these years. Perhaps it's because my mind refuses to accept the fact that my own carelessness was to blame. Had I been more alert, had I acted faster, I might have saved him. Can you see the ads now? Narrated live by the real Captain America. He begged me to let me be my partner, and I agreed, and I should have known better. My life was too dangerous. I lived, and still live, with death dogging my heels at every second. I had no right to ask him to share the hazards. I've no right, ever, to ask anyone to share the risks I must take. You were a great team, Rogers. Too bad the kid didn't make it. He'd have gone over great with the teeny boppers. And now there's Sharon Carter. Sharon, the girl I love. We've spoken of marriage. We've dared to dream, to hope. But I realize now it could never be. And he gets up and he puts his hat on. What kind of hat is that, Bob?
I have no idea what that's called.
It's a fedora, Bob.
Is it a fedora? I don't know if it's exactly a fedora.
Okay.
There's actually different names for hats. I'm not a hat expert. I'm a haberdasherist, I guess, or a haberdasherologist. If that would be a real thing.
Bob, if you were,
if I
this
were,
would be the one day of the 365 days you would have been called into action, and I would.
How I know that, Rick? I went dressed as Dr. Alan Grant for a costume party last weekend, and I had to buy a hat, because he wore a certain hat in Jurassic Park, and so I started to look online for like a cheap version of a hat I could wear, and I was like dumbfounded by all of the hats available and all the different names of different hats. So I'd like to
anybody get your costume?
A little bit of an well, I did have a badge that said Jurassic Park, so yeah, they kind of honed in on it.
But I realize now it can never be. If my enemies ever strike at me through her, no, I can't bear to think of it. Rogers, wait, what about the show? What's your answer? Rogers? And he turned the page, and Steve's out on the middle of the street in the middle of the day. I was supposed to meet her now, but I can't. I mustn't. I've got to get out of her life forever. I've got to find a mission, danger, anything to help me forget. And as the heartsick Avenger loses himself in the teeming crowd, we cut to a scene where the swordsman has his in full garb, has his sword out, and he's battling up against a robot. And Bob, how would you describe this robot?
Uh, it's robotic, Rick. So it's got a metallic torso with lots of. It looks like it has maybe some dials and it's all gray. So and there's no different colored lights or anything like that. It's like an armor robot, right? And it's got a round head without eyes or anything, and it almost looks like a pineapple grenade. If you're familiar with that pineapple grenade we saw in that first double page splash. And then he's got these long arms. He's got four of them, it appears. It look a lot like Doc Ock's arms.
Yeah.
And then some metal legs. And so it looks like maybe some form of combat robot.
Yes, and he is combating with it. Looks like he's just kind of training. And then coming in through the window, oddly enough, is Batroc the Leaper.
Swordsman, it is time to Zootalo! What is this?
Be with you in a minute, Batroc. As soon as I show my multi-powered opponent who is truly the master of the blade. Watch yourself, Batroc. He has a computer for a brain and 4 arms to strike out with.
Mon Dieu, you're a madman.
But they're not enough to hold the swordsman at bay.
Ha! No inhuman robot can strike faster than Batroc the Leaper.
No need for alarm, Batroc. I have pierced his deactivate coil. The session is ended for now.
Batroc is pleased that you practice with such great vigor. Soon you will have need for the greatest of skill.
Sounds like you've got a job lined up for us, Leaper, and it's about time.
We have known defeat in the past. It was necessary to practice, to gain new power, but now we are ready. So it is time to summon the Living Laser.
No need to summon me, gentlemen. The laser is never far away. I told you he was too dangerous. He forgets his own power.
That is precisely why he is needed.
And we turn the page, and we see the Living Laser. Now talk about another ugly guy. Sorry. He's got a face only a mom could love. And by the way, a little bit about Living Laser, Batroc, and Swordsman. So, without looking it up, any guesses on what appearance this is of Batroc? How many other appearances he had before this? What appearance number is this one?
I'm going to guess third, Rick.
That
Okay.
was going to be mine.
Very close. Very close. It would be number 4.
Okay. All right.
He first appeared in Tales of Suspense 75, and then he was in 76 and 85. So this is his 4th appearance. He has not been around for 20 months, so it's been a little while, but Stanley decided to bring him back. How about the Living Laser? What number appearance do you think this is?
Second.
I'll go third.
4th. Just like Batroc.
Huh.
He first appeared in Avengers 34, 35, and then he was in their first annual. So it's been a year since we've seen Living Laser. Lastly, the Swordsman. What number appearance do you think this is?
Well, I'm going to go
2.
with third.
2.
8.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
The Swordsman is popular.
He is. He first appeared in Avengers 19, and then he was in 5 issues of Avengers, and then he was in Tales of Suspense, and then he also was in Avengers Annual number 1. So that's where he and Living Laser were together.
So this was Batroc's first appearance in Captain America proper.
Correct. Yes.
Nice.
Same for all these characters. They had never appeared in Captain America proper before, which would be hard to do because this is only the 5th issue of Captain America proper.
True.
I was just testing your nerve, my friends. If we are to be partners, you must both be worthy. The living laser chooses his companions with the greatest care.
Silence, insolent one. It was Batroc who did the choosing. Batroc who found you and the swordsman. And it is Batroc who is the leader. If any dispute this, let them challenge me now.
My blade is ready. Relax, Frenchie. Just keep talking.
There is a weapon hidden in this city for which a certain nation will pay $1,000,000. It is up to us to find it before it is seized by the Americans.
So John, in back in 1968, $1 million in America would get you pretty far. How many francs is that?
That's about 50 gajillion francs.
Oh, nice.
I
nice.
was gonna
See,
say
Bob, that's what
about
it's like
right.
when people do their research.
I appreciate your preparation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you're talking our language. Minutes later, in a secret briefing room, Bob, is this guy a general? He looks like a general.
I don't know. He looks like he has captain's bars on his lapels, but oddly enough, that's not where captain's bars would go on an actual uniform. So he may well be a general. Who knows?
This is the weapon which intelligence says an enemy spy has brought into the city. It must be found, and found quickly. Even now, there are other enemy agents who will stop at nothing to get their hands on it before us.
Rick,
The
is that an enemy seismo bomb?
Yeah, but it's not just any view, Bob. It's the cutaway view.
That's nice. Yeah.
Cap's sitting there. It looks a little melancholy. You say the agent who brought it here was captured by S.H.I.E.L.D., but died before you could be made to talk? That's right, mister. We learned of the bomb from some secret orders that were found in his pocket, but we don't know where it's been hidden. If it should fall into enemy hands, there's no telling what may happen. Well, I asked for an assignment, and it seems that I drew a butte. Then you'll do it, Cap? You know it, Senator. The seismo bomb can cause a shockwave that could demolish the entire city. It's charging up at the very moment. First, there will be 3 small shocks, and then the big one. And the only lead you have is the location where the spy was captured. I'll head for that spot immediately. Remember, others saw his capture. You might encounter anything. With a menace like that in the city, every second counts. And even if I find it, it could mean my life trying to defuse it. But it's a chance I have to take. And we kind of cut to the scene from the cover that Bob described. And Cap is leaping off of a building. He is on, I would say, normally it would be a cable of some sort or a wire in the city, but it looks like rope with the drawing and the coloring. But Cap has his shield on it, and he's using it as a zip line coming down. And sure enough, on top of the building, we find our 3 foes. On the roof below, 3 figures. Batroc, I'd know him anywhere. And the others they're turning. They hear me. Captain America, he's found us. The swordsman, about to slash the line. I've got to jump for it. And we turn the page, and Cap lands there, and he kicks away the swordsman.
Sacre nom! Am I never to be free of this shield-carrying avenger?
Not if I can help it, Leaper. And just between us, I can help it.
But this time, you do not escape alive.
You 2 keep searching. My blade will delay him long enough for you to find the bomb.
Delay him longer than that. Delay him forever.
Listen, you fool. If that bomb goes off, it'll mean your death as well. You don't scare me, Avenger. Batroc will find it in time. Don't count on it, swordsman. Far as I'm concerned, your time has just run out. And then, as the swordsman's coming down, Cap blocks it with his shield, but then also punches him in the solar plexus. A second more, and he'd have had me. Haven't you learned your lesson yet, masked man? Lesson? What lesson? Landing the first blow means nothing. when you fight the swordsman, this is where it pays off. Ugh, he tripped me. You're good, Avenger, but nobody is unbeatable, especially you. And if you happen to doubt me, and what does he do, Bob?
He depresses a button on the hilt of his sword.
I'm so glad you said that. I would have said handle.
Okay, well, it works.
And it is zaps Cap, and it makes a noise. I'd be more than happy to prove it, what I say. His sword has as many built-in devices as ever. Too bad my attack so weakened you that your natural agility cannot match my own. Or have you forgotten that I, too, can dodge and dart like a master? My shield. I've got to reach my shield, and Cap dives past him. Nice try, Captain America, but nothing human can outmaneuver the swordsman force ray. Or have you already noticed? And now, while you're totally off balance, voodoo chop! Lie there, Avenger. The time has come for the final thrust. You know, I hope no one ever takes what I say on a podcast and just like edits out certain clips because
Done. Consider it done.
I told you to lie there. No one can rise against a torrent of flying bricks.
Oh, I just love that. Lie there, Avenger. The time has come for the final thrust. Oh, I'm so using that this weekend.
I told you to lie there. It's almost too easy. I thought you put up a better fight. This is just getting out of hand. Sorry to disappoint you, fella. What? You can still speak? I could do more than just speak. Lots more. And Cap dives at him, hits him, and then punches him flying back. For all your boasting, you'll still never learn when a foe is beaten, or when he's just getting his second wind. And if it's one lesson you can only learn, the hard way. What kind of man are you to side with the enemies of your own country? Does freedom mean so little that, wait, the rooftop, it's starting to quiver. The seismo bomb. It's the first shockwave. Only 2 more to go before it explodes. And at that very second, on the next page, down below, Batroc, we haven't much longer. We've got to find the bomb.
Do not panic, mon ami. We must keep searching. We shall not fail.
You can't quiet me with your corny slogans. What happens if we don't find the bomb in time?
It is not a most pleasant thought, mon vieux. I fear we shall all discover that we are very, very dead. And now we have spoken enough, n'est-ce pas?
Not yet, Batroc. Captain America intends to have the last word. And he throws his shield down and it just starts ricocheting all over the place.
Sacre bleu! He still lives. But no spinning shield can topple the greatest leaper of them all. You would have been wiser to flee while you had the chance. But now, for you, it is too late.
It's never too late when human lives are at stake.
Laser, move quickly, mon ami.
We can't all be leapers, Batroc. And Cap lands on him.
Quel dommage, you were too slow.
But what does it matter? No shield-carrying fool could stand a chance against the living laser. His laser beam is the deadliest of the weapons, but I must defeat it. You get the bomb, Frenchie. I'll toy with the overrated Avenger for a while. I'll make him cry uncle, and mean it, before I polish him off. That shield can't help you now, mister. Not with a laser-induced heat barrier thrown around it. He fires those laser rays from either wristband. My only chance is to smash them. But how? How? If I can just throw him off guard, I'll try to draw him closer and closer to me. This rusted railing will give him something to waste his powers on. And he rips it off. Huh? Ha! You're beginning to panic, just as I knew you would. Did you think some pieces of moldy metal would be able to stop me? Yes, but not the way you imagine. He's playing with me like a cat plays with a mouse. He's keeping me on the move and enjoying every second of it. And that's just the way I want it. The more I move, the closer to him I get. Now he's edging right up to me. He's confidently moving in for the kill. Say your prayers, masked man. Here's where you get it, with both barrels. It's now or never. Whoop! Even an unarmed target can still fight back. And Cap goes in between his two barrels and hits him in the middle of his torso. Then he grabs both arms and pushes them back against the brick wall. There's one wristband that'll never shoot another ray, and there's the second. Without them, you're just another man in the mask. Now, if I can just. What? The second seismoshock. Laser, listen to me. Where's Batroc? I've got to reach that bomb. Okay, so you beat me. For now, I still rattle my partners. It's more than a question of loyalty. It means survival. If I don't stop him in that time, that bomb will destroy the city, and that means all of us. You really mean it? That's why you fought that way. Of course I mean it. Now talk, man. Talk. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll tell you. The warehouse around the corner. There's a manhole at the south side. But you've been battling. You're tired. Batroc's still fresh. I'd get that bomb even if there were a dozen Batrocs. I dare not fail. And Cap puts the shield back on his arm and he races. Next page, we see Batroc, who is in front of a building, and there are people who are walking on the sidewalk, and there's a guy holding his lunchbox, and then there's an armed guard. At that moment, a scant 100 yards away.
This is the place. The Melonhole Cavern is just a leap away.
Everyone left early because of those mysterious shock waves. What about you, Joe? I was hired to guard this place, and that's what I'm doing.
But not for long, mon petit. Batroc must have no interference from now on. And now, for the bomb. Once again, the mighty Batroc is triumphant.
Hold it. Don't go near that manhole.
Nom de nom. It is très formidable. You have survived the laser's attack. But not even you have the power to resist Batroc.
Batroc uses two fists to land on Cap's shield. Wait, listen to me, you fool. Stop.
We, Batroc, will stop after I have beaten you.
Don't you see? This is bigger than a grudge fight. I'm trying to warn you.
Merci bien. That is most kind of you. But now I show you what Batroc thinks of your warning.
I should have known you wouldn't listen to reason. There's only one way to deal with the likes of you. And Cap punches him and appears is either an uppercut, like hitting him on the chin, or maybe it's in the throat. And this is it.
Ha! Now the arrogant American shows his true colors. Well, Batroc too knows how to deal with Captain America. Not for nothing am I the world's greatest leaper.
And he uses his legs to kick a gigantic barrel because, barrels just happen to be around on the sidewalk. and he uses that to kick it towards Captain America. And on the next page, we see Cap avoiding it. All right, strong man. If that's the way you want it, I'm through talking. There's only one language that you can understand, and I can speak it as well as any man alive.
Bien, but how much longer will you be alive?
Long enough to do what must be done. But then there's an explosion and a manhole from the street goes flying in the air. That was the third shock. Our time has nearly run out. Within a matter of seconds, the entire city will be a mass of rubble.
If you were aware of that, why did you not speak?
You granite-skulled Gaelic gorilla. What do you think I've been trying to do? After the third shockwave, the bomb is fully triggered. We may already be too late to stop it. Now, out of my way, mister. I've got to try to reach it and defuse it, or die trying.
Die? That is a most unpleasant word. And if you fail, even Batroc will be among the victims. The bomb is yours, mon ami. My so great speed will take me to safety, while you stupidly risk your life for the undeserving masses.
There was another who gave his life for the masses many centuries ago, and though he was the wisest one of all, he never thought of the humblest living being as undeserving. And he goes down into where the bomb was, where the explosion came from, I should say, and he goes down into the crevice. The bomb, I found it, and it's in a green briefcase, or as Bob likes to call it, an attaché case. There, right at the top, the emergency destruct button. Now there's only one question which must be answered. How much time still remains? Can I press the button before detonation? I did it. It released a burst of acid gas, eating away the entire mechanism. The city is safe. But I still cannot rest. I must fight on until the end. And Cap just kneels there with his head resting on his arm, on his knee. Next, Cap goes wild. Now, if you want to hear the next story, make sure you go to episode 184, because Bob and I did cover Cap Goes Wild in episode 184. All right, guys. Real quick, what did you think of this story?
It was fantastic. Yeah, what a fun story, right? I mean, this is classic 1960s Captain America, right? Quick story, some bad guys, fighting it out, a couple of action scenes, and resolved. Some commiserating, not commiserating, some hand wringing about Bucky and Sharon. Some deep reflection, and then all's well that ends well at the end. A quick resolution to the situation. So, but it's got Batroc in it, so it's pretty good stuff.
I agree. Everything what you just said pretty much sums it up. John, what do you got?
It does. The only thing I'll add is it's a little painful to see Batroc as knowing he is a mercenary, but as mercenary as he is in this issue, I'm so much more used to the Batroc I grew up with in the 80s and even into the 90s, where he had some kind of sense of honor and wouldn't have been so concerned or unconcerned about the death of so many masses potentially. But it was the 60s and he was a villainous Frenchman.
It's a good point.
I yes, but I don't know if I 100% agree, because in the beginning of this issue, he said there is a country that will pay $1 million for this bomb, right? That is very similar to the Batroc from the 80s and 90s. He would get a bomb and to another country. I mean, he doesn't care about America. He's French, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to misspeak. I don't mean about the sell.
I understood what you meant. I totally understand. At the end, where he was like, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm on my own. I'm not going to help you." That's the Batroc that you're talking about. It's a little different, but still, he's still a scoundrel, an evil person who's going to get a bomb and sell it to the highest bidder.
He's a
And
mercenary.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's a soldier of fortune.
That's true.
Yeah.
And at the end of the
Bob, you
day,
really
he
got to
is
stop
mostly
trying.
concerned about his own hide.
Well, no, Hyde doesn't come until the Roger Stern, John Byrne era. That was
Sure.
right around
Uh-huh.
248.
I
Well
believe
played.
that's what's called a layup.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Thank you. All right, guys, we're gonna do favorite panel, and John starts. He's our guest, so normally I would
Ooh.
start. It would be my turn to start, Bob, but we're gonna let
Mm.
John go first.
All right, that's fair.
Well, for my favorite panel, at least according to the little number on the bottom of the page 13, bottom right panel, nice yellow background. It's Batroc leaping over Cap's shield. So you get a nice shot of the
Okay,
shield
John
and
can't
Batroc
go
leaping.
first. John can't go first at all, unfortunately. All right, so my favorite panel is on page 13, panel 4. And you took my panel, Bob. I mean, John. I mean, come on. You took my panel.
It's a great panel.
It is. That was my panel.
I think you're next, Rick.
Yeah,
You don't have a backup ready?
Unless you would like to me to you'd like me to go, Rick. I could go. I don't think I don't think you're going to pick my panel.
Pick your panel. Actually, you know what? Actually, that wasn't my favorite panel. That panel was actually going to go on my T-shirt.
Oh.
But now that's gone. Yeah, because Bob had mentioned before he wanted T-shirts with villains because we don't have T-shirts with villains, and I thought, yeah, Batroc would be a good on a T-shirt, and you know that's
present company
Bob.
excluded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
No, my favorite panel is I'm going to go with page 2 and 3, which is the double page splash. You know,
Nice.
That's Cap, Bucky, World War II. You got
All right.
fighting, Americans fighting Germans. You got a little
Cats
bit
versus
of Kirby
dogs.
Crackle.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. That being my favorite panel.
Yeah. Well,
How about you?
I'm gonna go with the page right after the double page splash, Rick.
Mm.
And this is where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go off the beaten path here. I love that center three panel right in the center of the page with Steve in his business attire. In a reflective mood, and it concludes with him holding his forehead in his hands, and I like that because one, we see Steve in his business attire, number one, but I like that, like the whole thing is like, of course we see the thought balloons, right, and he's lamenting Bucky's loss and his role in it. But we see that played out on his face in this 3-panel sequence. And I think Kirby does a really good job here of depicting that emotional turmoil, particularly as it progresses toward the almost, like I said, collapsing of his hand, holding it in his head, his head in his hand. So I like the emotion in that sequence. And so I'm going to go with that.
Nice pick. I like your pick very much so. All right. Well, what are you going to be putting on a T-shirt, Mr. Lucius?
Well, I'm going to have to go with so it's I think I'm looking at the digital copy, so it's page 12 in art, and it's when Cap is on the building and he's fighting, and he just punched the swordsman in the face, and he goes to pick up his shield, and the building quakes. And it's the lower right-hand panel of that page where he goes, "The seismo bomb."
Yeah.
It's the first shockwave. Only 2 more to go before it explodes. So I got to have that on a shirt. I mean, who doesn't want a seismo bomb shirt?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
No, I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. I think I go next on T-shirt. I have to pivot because John took my panel, but I'm going to go with another good Batroc panel. And that is page 17, the last panel, where Batroc is on the ground, Cap's on top of him with his shield. There's a yellow background. There's some action going on. and he says, "Wait, listen to me, you fool. Stop. We, Batroc, will stop after I have beaten you." That would look good on a t-shirt, right?
Yeah, who doesn't want a shirt with Batroc and Cap on it?
Yeah. And how about you, John? What's going on your t-shirt?
So same page, actually, upper right. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you might be able to see it in my background even. Batroc delivering the kick, and those two guys are just flying out.
Why would you
Nice.
want that, John? That's just mean.
It's Batroc doing what he does best.
Poor
being
guys,
being a
going to
jerk?
lunch. He's taking his lunch, going to
Yeah, he's
early
getting-
lunch,
he's-
No,
minding
he's
his
not
own
taking-
beeswax.
No, they're leaving. They're in his way.
Oh, my
As he
goodness.
says, he must have no interference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they were leaving.
Oh my
Like,
goodness,
they-
my sandwich is smushed.
He could have just like they were leaving. They were going the opposite direction of where he was going.
Time was of the essence, Rick. Come on.
And you want a
This-
t-shirt to commemorate the him being a jerk like this?
I want a t-shirt of him kicking the crap out of some guys. Yeah, absolutely.
there you
The
go.
guy in the back, no less.
Isn't he using it as his background for crying out loud?
Yes. It's right behind me. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, everybody.
Oh my goodness.
What does this say about me? I want a t-shirt of a villain kicking two harmless people in the back.
Oh,
Two
no,
middle-aged
the guy,
men in the back.
the
for
guy
crying
in the
out
green suit is facing it at the side at best.
All right. What's going in your time capsule, John?
Well, going back to what Bob was talking about, the page 4, just that whole interaction, as you mentioned, even the guys are smoking there. It's the suits, the hat style, the whole bit. Everything about this is just screaming 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. I think that's what you meant to say.
That's what I meant. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. And then for me, going in my time capsule, I'm going to go with page 5, which is the next page. First panel where Cap or Steve is walking in his civvies, putting on his fedora, and then seeing the team of people walking on the street. You see men are every one of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different men wearing hats and long coats. One guy smoking a pipe, and then the hairstyle on the ladies and the outfits, and heck, just the box that she's carrying that has the ribbons around it. That is totally the 60s. Bob, you look like a proud pop.
I'm so proud. Rick, I'm so proud of you right now. Oh my gosh.
That's a very good pick.
It really is doing the full fashion, the milieu, the cultural milieu. Oh my gosh. So
I know.
proud of you.
I normally am picking something like this is the first
Mwah.
time these two characters met.
Yeah.
But what can I say, Bob? You've rubbed off on me.
All right. Nicely done. Nicely done. That was my first pick too, Rick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was going to be my first pick.
You know what? Part of me felt that way and was like, I got to get it before Bob can. It's a draft all over again.
Nicely done.
What is your pick, Bob?
Well, I'm going to have to go that this is the first appearance of Batroc's Brigade, at least the first iteration of Batroc's Brigade. Of course, we know that he's had several over the years, but this was the first iteration of the Brigade.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, please do. I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
Very nice pick.
Did my research.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, listen, this was a fun trip to the 60s, and John, thank you very much for joining the show and lending your voice and your talents to Batroc. Because I got to tell you, I do miss doing that voice. It is kind of fun. But anyway, it was great hearing you, and thank you for joining the show.
Thanks for having me on, guys. It's always a pleasure, and it's a lot of fun to voice Batroc.
Super fun to have you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right. two things. Next episode, we actually are going to be have another guest come on the show. We're going to have one of our super patrons. That would be Nate Charles for another episode of the Nightcap series. And that's when our super patrons join the show. We all have a beverage of choice, and our guest picks the topic. And I believe the topic is going to be a top 10 list that he is preparing. And Bob, I'm pretty excited for this one.
Yeah, I've seen some of the top secret communication traffic going back and forth, and so I'm excited as well about this topic.
Yep. And the last thing I just want to end with is, again, please do what you can to help support the American Red Cross during this time. Check out the link that's in the show notes of this podcast or on our Facebook page. I'm also, don't forget, we'll be giving away a prize to the top donation and maybe a few other things along the way. Stay tuned for more information on that. So thanks everybody for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe wherever you are listening. Give us a thumbs up if you're on YouTube, and answer the polls on Spotify, and leave a comment on Apple and Facebook and all that good stuff. And as always, thank you for listening to another episode of the Captain America Comic Book Fans Podcast.